This is the code for the HR resource query chatbot. I have created an architecture where we have the backend in a different folder and we have the front end in a different folder and the main.py, which will call the backend and connect it to the front end. These are the necessary import statements I'm using throughout the project. I'm using fast API, and this allows me to allow all sorts of methods where it's like get, post, put, it can be delete, and it allows all sorts of headers, all sorts of origins. And this part is where I have created a class HR employee matcher where the semantic embedding happens as well as the employee data is being loaded. And this is the request body for the chat endpoint, and this is what happens at the chat endpoint. We are getting the employee we are getting all the relevant employees. At the same time, we are also generating the response and we send it back to the front end. So this is for the chat where we are using a semantic embedding model, and this is a more strict keyword based search point where we have a strict keyword. Like if we are particularly searching for a React developer, or if we are particularly searching for someone with 5 years of experience, it's a very strict search. And I am removing all the stop words over here. I am dividing my query statement, like when we are saying find an employee with 5 years of experience who's a React developer, like I'm splitting it into tokens, and then we specifically search what is there in those tokens and what is the necessary thing that we want to match with the employee. So I have given leeway of, like, you can search by the name, you can search by the skill or the projects or the experience or the availability. So this helps us match the employee based on these criterias. And this is where we can load the front end. So I have given this as the path. So, and like if we run it on localhost, like we'll get the front end output. So this is the main.py, and in the backend code I have a data folder where the first few of the records I have created myself and the rest is AI generated. And the rag.py is where I am first of all I'm using a pre-trained sentence embedding model, and I'm reading all of the employees over here so that we can create embeddings of the employee details as well. So that happens over here, and then we are pulling it all into one tensor and retrieve relevant employees. This is where we take the query which the user has sent and we create an embedding out of that too, and we match. So this I have given so that we can specifically search for that experience or keywords. I noticed that because both of them are just so we are trying to find it on the basis of similarity. Sometimes even though some of the keywords might be missing, we will still be getting those employees. So in order to make it a little bit more strict and to restrict certain people with experience or keywords so that it won't be very generic, I have kept these two filters. One is for experience and one is for keywords. And here is where we are finding the similarity. So over here we are trying to filter out what doesn't fall into the criteria which was mentioned in the query, and we are also getting the score. So we are going through the similarity scores, and we are sorting it whichever has the highest similarity search, and then we are restricting it to only 5 employees. And generate response, this is a format that I have kept for where we get the employees, and then this is the format in which we get the response. And these are the restrictions that I have mentioned prior. So for minimum experience, I've used a regex, and for the keywords, I have just iterated through each of the keywords because it's already a list, and that's the format that was suggested. So we have the skills in a list already. Now moving on to the demo of the project. So some of these samples which were given, for example, if we are trying to find Python developers with 3 years of experience. Takes a minute to load, and we can find all the developers with 3 years of three more than 3 years of experience. And we are specifically searching for people who have worked on healthcare projects. We get those employees as well. So this is communicating with the chat through the chat endpoint, and these are the results we'll get. So for this particular question, it's just for AWS and Docker, and we just have one employee that has both the skills. Now like I said, it's very generic response when you go for like the chat endpoint, but if you want a specific restricted type of search, we can go for the keyword search, where they specifically search only for that keyword. So now I have searched for find Hasna, and there is only one employee with that name, and like they are filtering it in a much more strict manner. And that's the end of the demo.